Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel from Tech Tuning, and today we're going to be tackling the front brakes on the Celica. This process is going to be a little bit more intensive than the rear brakes were, since in order to change your front rotor you do have to remove the front hub, but it's not as bad as it sounds, and it's a good chance to re-grease the bearings or replace them if you have to do that as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the process. So we're going to take a 12mm wrench, and using that we are going to break loose our caliper slide pin bolt. And now you have to remove the brake line connectors. So you have a 10mm line lock, and then there's going to be one tab that holds the line into the bracket, and then on the back of the strut there's going to be another tab that holds the line in there. So you just have to disconnect it at this point, remove the two tabs. Going to be removing this center cap for the hub. You can just use a flathead screwdriver, tap it around the edge, and slowly it'll pry itself off. And then in doing so with that, we'll reveal the one large nut underneath it that holds the wheel bearing and the hub together. We can take that off to remove our entire rotor assembly to replace the rotor. Using some needle nose pliers, we can bend this cotter pin away, And when we get the cotter pin out, then we should be able to remove this one cap and the locking nut. There's the cotter pin, and then this should just come right off. And the axle nuts should be only hand tight or so on there. That's the whole point of the cotter pin, is to keep it from backing itself off too far, but mine have been very snug. So what I had to do is pull out the largest ratchet I own, and this is a 1 1/4 socket, which I used to break loose the nut. Now we can take a rubber mallet, just tap this loose, and your whole assembly should come out. Rotor and hub assembly, which has 4. Now with the hub off and the brake rotor that's going on clean, we can lay this one back on the same way we took the old one off. And you want to make sure that the recessed side is facing the inside of the car. And now this is ready for us to slip it back on, throw some new grease on it, and put the wheel hub locks and bearings back in. Alrighty guys, sorry for the cut. The camera battery was getting low, so I had to go stop and charge it for a little bit. But at this point, like we just saw, we have the new rotor on, we have the hub back on, and it's all re-greased. And we have our nut inside snugged up, so the hub assembly is good to go. The next thing that we have to do is start putting the caliper back on. In preparation for that, I took the old bracket off and I took the old caliper off, and I just brushed them down quickly just to get any loose brake dirt off. And we also have to set up our new brake line to go on, because the new brake line has to be attached to the caliper and ran through the brackets before we mount the caliper, because these have to be threaded in, otherwise it will twist the line and you wouldn't be able to put it in. It's a little difficult to explain, but if you're putting these in, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's just important to note the line has to be attached to the caliper before the caliper goes back on. So before we put the caliper on though, let's take our new bracket, or not new, but let's take our bracket. We'll put some new grease on all of the brake pad contact points, and then we will put this on.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know.
So our caliper bracket is now back on. Our next step is going to be taking the new brake pads and fitting those on. And I can't lie, this is probably the most annoying part of this process on the car. But similar to the rears, we have the low brake pad wear indicator that's going to be facing you. It's going to be facing the outside of the car. And I think this one's the easiest one to put in, so I'm going to start with that. And I'm just going to slip it in front of the clips first. And the little shims have springs that have to be compressed. And once those are compressed, you can slip the brake pad on. So I've found it easiest to start with the bottom, get that one in, and then you can press the top one and angle that one to get the pad on. And it'll probably take a couple tries, because like I said, this is for some reason really difficult. I'm not sure who came up with this idea at Toyota, but so that is the front one, which again I think is the easiest. The rear, we have the one clip which is like a spring, and then the other one which will just sit on, and that will be the brake pad. That's just no silencers, nothing. Apply some more brake grease to the fronts and backs of these pads so it'll help with noise, and then we'll get to putting the caliper back on. So our next step, in order to get the caliper back on, the first thing that we're going to have to do is actually use one of the old brake pads and a brake piston compressor or a pry bar, and we're going to do that to force the piston back. point, everything is back together and you can move on to bleeding your brakes. What's going on, guys? If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all you guys that watch through the end of my videos, leaving comments and all that. It means a lot to me and it's a lot of motivation to keep going. If you liked the video, please let me know. And like I said in the video, with the whole axle knot thing, just make sure you don't over tighten them, because that's a really easy thing to mess up and then you'll have a lot of wheel shake. But yeah, I hope you guys learned a lot from the video, and hopefully you guys can apply the same information to your car if you ever get around to doing your front brakes. But yeah, thank you guys again. I'll see you in the next one.